Most people waste years chasing the wrong things, and I know this because I used to be one of those people. I wasted almost 5 years of my life choosing to chase rather than to build, and over the last 2 years I've been able to change my life dramatically just by making a few small changes. Now, as I get there, it also took many failures, many L's, but with those L's came many valuable lessons. From these lessons, I picked 10 of them that I feel had the most impact on my life in terms of changing it, and I'm sharing this with you guys because if I knew this earlier, I probably would have saved myself years of mistakes. By the end of this video, I'm hoping that these 10 lessons will help you stand out, get ahead, build the life that you dream of, and just do more and have more of an impact in your own life too. Each lesson will be broken down in 3 main ways. 1, explaining what the lesson is. 2, explaining why it's important. And 3, explaining how I apply these lessons in my life so that you know how you can apply them too. The first lesson is that the best opportunities don't come from joining the crowd, but from serving it. I want you to understand the true magnitude of this, because choosing to join the crowd is becoming a player in the game, which isn't a bad thing. You can still make some money becoming a player in the game, but choosing to serve the crowd, choosing to serve people who want to be players. You know, the coach makes more money than the actual player. You know what I mean? Like, the player still makes a good chunk of money, and for you to become a coach, you obviously have to become a player. So you go from levels to level, right? And as you keep going up, you realize that you are no longer joining the crowd because you've already put your reps in. You already know what you were supposed to do. You know, you already did everything you were supposed to do, right? And if you haven't, then it's okay. You'll officially start off as a player. You eventually go from player to coach or to manager or something like that. And those guys get paid more. Why? Because they're teaching other people at the bottom how to do specific things, and they're giving those players at the bottom now opportunities to make more money or to have more fitness or whatever the goal may be. You always have better opportunities serving the people rather than joining the people, because at the end of the day, the biggest rewards come from solving problems that no one else wants to deal with or showcasing solutions to problems that people are already experiencing in their life. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to stand out. You don't need to be famous or anything like that. It really just comes down to being more useful. The more useful that you are, the more rewards you'll reap from your usefulness. And if you are useless, it sucks right now, but that's something you could obviously work on. You can become more useful. You could take better care of yourself. You could learn skills. You could do things that put you on the right path to becoming more useful in whatever it is that you want to do. And in my case, again, I used to be just like you guys. I used to watch all the videos about how to make money online, thinking how the heck did all of these people get started with it? They're making thousands of dollars while I'm struggling to freaking figure out how to get groceries for today. I'm just thinking, like, how can I do this too? I got into courses, I started reading a whole bunch of books, and I started putting in the reps that allowed me to learn these different things, but I was tired of just watching from the sidelines, because even getting into these communities and reading these books, if you do nothing with the information presented to you, you are going to stay stuck exactly where you are. You have to apply all these things, right? I was tired of just being on the sidelines. Like, I'm recording this on Cyber Monday specifically. It's December 2nd. People went through Black Friday, and a bunch of people around me have made thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, some made M's. But if you're on the sideline, you're happy seeing everybody else do it, but then you come back to reality and you realize, yo, that's their bag. That's not even my money. Yeah, I'm happy that they got their bag, but I'm not getting a cut from none of this shit. I'm happy that I'm surrounded by the right people now, that I know people who are actually doing these things. I have access to this information. Okay, cool. But how long will I sit there and just be happy about other people's successes? I have to also put my own reps in and get my own successes too. I want to be the next one to also put those dashboards up, those numbers up. And I used to be at that point too, until I got literally fed up with that. I got tired of it. I'm like, dude, like, I need to change my own life. They've clearly changed theirs, and they keep doing that. I just started putting action and started changing my own life too. And that's when it all changed. I was tired of just joining the crowd, because a lot of people just join things and waste the money on these communities and stuff and these books to at least get access to the information. But I was tired of just joining the crowd because everybody else has these books. Everybody else has Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Who's actually read it and used the information in there? Everybody else has joined different communities, especially for like drop shipping and stuff like that too, right? But who actually decided to use the information and that make money off of it? There's still a select few from within that group that gets in, that decides to actually put the work in and make it work. I know, because I've seen it. Eventually, you just get tired of being on the sidelines and you actually want to be a player in the game. It's so much more exciting and fun actually being a player in the game. And that's when I started taking everything that I learned, from my books, everything that I learned from different communities and different courses, and just putting it together for my own projects. And it's only then that my life truly started to change drastically. The one thing I want to say is that taking everything that you've learned and starting to use it, you're going to fail a lot. It's going to look cringy, and you're going to have days where you're even thinking about why the heck you're still doing this. But those are all things that happen within the reps that lead you to success. success. That's literally the stuff that's in the middle. You can't stop in the middle. You gotta keep going until you obviously find some sort of success to keep you going. And I think the main thing that helped me get there is probably going to be lesson 2, which is that losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. Because again, watching others succeed won't make you move forward. You are just going to be seeing other people's success. You're still stuck on the sidelines. And doing that for too long leads to comparison, where you sit there and you're looking at your bank account and you're seeing somebody else who's made like $100,000, $500,000, $1 million in a month, and you're like, damn, like I would love to be living like this dude. And you start comparing yourself with him, not knowing all the reps and the failures and shit that he had to do. Like he's probably failed more than you even tried. You know what I mean? Like you gotta keep putting in the reps, but you also gotta see that nothing will happen for me if I keep watching all these people win. Like I actually have to take initiative and action to choose to focus on winning for myself. Again, losers focus on winners. Losers focus on what everybody else has going on. They focus on, oh, what's happening on this guy's grass? His grass is greener. Why is that? I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't have time for all that shit. I want to win. They're clearly winning. They don't need me to help them win. I need me to win. So I'm gonna focus on myself and how I can win, because winners focus on winning. That's it. And this one was quite easy to switch from, because I used to scroll all the time. I used to watch influencers and see how they're crushing it. I used to spend a lot of time just watching like TV and anime and shit, playing video games, like seeing streamers go crazy, putting up a camera, making 100K, 200K, and then saying like, yeah, this is lit, man. And I'm like, yo, dude, like the reason they are who they are and the reason that they got to where they got to is because they focused specifically on what they've got going on. They sacrificed on the things that didn't serve them. Although people might think it seems hard, yeah, you kind of need that solitude, dude. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this shit. There's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna want to do that you're used to saying yes to, you're gonna have to start saying no to. Because again, you have to cut off the short-term shit for the long-term shit. At the end of the day, they didn't care about nobody else when they were going through what they were going through and then made it to where they made it to. They considered themselves their priority. And that's the same thing that you should be doing too. And that's free. It doesn't cost you $1 to consider yourself a priority. And I get that it sounds very selfish, but it ends up really being a form of self-respect. And I'm grateful that I have been able to find that, because again, no one really cares about me, so who am I caring about other people? Like, unless you're one of my guys, like you're a gang for real, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing, bro? A big thing that I like to say is you've lived your whole life without knowing me. Your life won't change just because I'm no longer in your life. That's just the reality of it. But the one thing about taking yourself as a priority is to understand that if you are counting on your family to get rich, you will stay broke. And I say this with the understanding that you don't have any rich friends or people around you whose energy you can bounce off of. But the reality is, most people close to you will not see your vision until you actually make it happen. And at the end of the day, your vision is your vision, but the whole point of you getting rich, I mean, everyone's purpose is different, but my point and my reason for getting rich is because I don't want my family to keep struggling, bro. I'm in it for the generational wealth type of shit. I need to make sure my current family now is blessed, and I need to make sure that my grandkids are blessed, you know? Like, I want to be that grandpa that's just sitting them around in a circle and be like, yo, like, I did all that shit to carry the dub for you guys, bro. I'm having to tell them about, like, yo, all this COVID bullshit. Like, we went through all this to make sure you guys are blessed and don't have to go through that. And even in the case of, like, a brand, for example, or drop shipping too. You want to hit $10,000? You want to hit $100,000? Cool. Don't expect your family to be the ones that bring your sales up to $10,000 or $100,000. They're not going to be the ones buying your product. There's going to be other people in the world out there that are truly supporting your brand and whatever you've got going on. Those are the people that are going to support you and bring you the whole way. You got to cherish them. The point of this is that the world is a lot bigger than just your family and your current friends. And the people outside in the world are going to be your main supporters. You got to cherish them. You got to ride for them. You'll also notice that as you level up, your circle will change and become more elevated as well. You won't necessarily be up there with your same circle that you grew up with. And I'm not saying this happens all the time. I'm saying that you're making it a whole lot more difficult for yourself if you're trying to look at it that way. Because I did the same thing. I did everything possible to bring the people that I grew up with me. And to an extent, sometimes I still do. But most of my success came when I didn't care about that. Because at the end of the day, everyone has their own paths. Not everyone is going to want to do things the same way that I do. And that's okay. Everyone wants to be a millionaire, yeah, and there's plenty of ways to become a millionaire, but not everyone wants to be a content creator. Not everyone wants to be a dropshipper. Some people want to have their own agency. Some people want to work into real estate or something, you know, like there's plenty of different paths you can take, plenty of different ways you can make money. Some people decide that they want to go into crypto and trading and whatever. Like, it's fine. Everyone has their own hustle. Just understanding that you cannot force this upon anybody else and have all of them elevate with you, because if some of them don't want to elevate with you, you can't have that be the reason why you are choosing to stay at their level. You still have to elevate. You cannot forget that. Even looking back on my first successful dropshipping store, my family literally thought it was just a phase. Like, I was just making money online and strangers are buying my stuff on the internet and they're like, oh my god, well, he's making money now. And it's strangers that became my first customers. It's not the family that I grew up with. They didn't even know half the shit I was selling. You just gotta think about the numbers. You probably have like less than 100 family members, and even if you had every single one of those 100 family members order for your store on your $50 product, whoop-de-doo, you made $5,000. They're not gonna buy it again though, chances are, unless you have a killer brand. If you compare your 100 family members to the 7 billion people in the world, like, what are we really doing? You know what I mean? You gotta get it out of your head that you are gonna want your friends and your family to support you, and you gotta just do it yourself. It's a lonely fucking road, dude. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but it's necessary. Because again, the goal is to make a lot of money to be able to take care of myself and of my family too. And now that I at least know what my goal is, it helps me get a whole lot more clarity to move on to lesson number 4. This one, I would say try your best to have it be a non-negotiable, but please don't go broke trying to look rich. Invest in assets, not appearances. No one cares that much about you having all these materialistic things. The cars, the watches, the cribs, the flights, the trips that you're taking to all different places. Being rich isn't a matter of doing these things all the time. It's knowing that you are able to do these things and not have to worry about it. At least that's what I've learned over time, because I've made a free ton of money and spent it on a lot of dumb shit, man. And I've lost a lot of money spending it on dumb shit too. But again, what's more important? Knowing that you have enough money to go on a trip around the world and it's gonna cost you, like, let's say you take a trip to Europe and you go backpacking around Europe or some shit and it costs you like 20 racks. Okay, cool. You give yourself a trip for 20 racks. But what if you have an emergency and a family member has to be sent to the hospital or something like that? Now what? That $20,000 that you took backpacking to Europe, you could easily take a small portion of that and help them. It's not the idea of you have to do all these things. It's knowing that you have the ability to do them. That's my new definition of rich after all this time. And honestly, it's been helping me a whole lot. Because in my early 20s, I bought a bunch of expensive things to impress people I didn't even like, if I'm being quite honest. In some cases, I didn't like them. In other cases, I know they don't even care. Looking back at it now, I probably spent tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands at this point, just on inflating my lifestyle for the wrong reasons. If I played it smarter by focusing on the long term of things and focused on what would give me a better return on these investments that I'm making, everything else in my life would have skyrocketed very quickly. And I know this can be hard to do, especially when you're looking at social media and seeing everybody else's lifestyle and how they're, living life, being rich. But at the end of the day, even while you look at social media and other people's lifestyles, you have to understand that you can't compare the lifestyles. You should never compare the lifestyles. You have to compare the inputs. You don't know all the things that they had to do to be able to get to that point. Especially with social media showing other people's lifestyles. You'll always see their successes, but you'll rarely see their sacrifices. And there's a reason for that. We take a lot of L's before we take W's, bro. If you really think about it, 2 L's actually make a W. I'm telling you, you'll find a whole lot more success focusing on building the habits that they've built to get to the point that they're at, rather than focusing on how they got all these different things. And honestly, the reason why I can say this is because I've met some of my inspos. I've gotten to speak with them too. I once envied the success of a bunch of other people crushing it in their industry as if they got everything figured out, but no one really has it all figured out. When I got the opportunity to work with other people doing 10 times the numbers that I am, I realized that the work ethic is completely different. I'm talking about 12 to 16-hour work days every day, all while posting 3 to 10 pieces of content for all of their businesses, still per day, and all on different platforms. And they're tracking every single post too. It's just a different ball game. It's a different type of hustle at that point. All of the lifestyle stuff comes as an add-on to them from putting in the work in the first place. That's why it's a whole lot easier if your goal isn't necessarily all these materialistic things, but to deepen yourself with the habits that they've actually used to get there. And it's really simple. If you want to live a life like that, all you have to do is follow lesson 6. Replicate before you iterate. Don't reinvent the wheel. I'm going to take dropshipping as an example for this. If you are trying to become a dropshipper and you are lucky enough to be in contact with people that are a few steps ahead of you when it comes to the dropshipping game, why are you trying to convince them that their way is wrong? Why are you trying to convince them that like they're doing things differently, that you can do things differently when you haven't even done it their way yet? Clearly you've seen their way works and you've gotten the opportunity to speak with them to understand that their way works. You haven't even done it yourself yet. You're trying to change up a few things. Just follow the process. The blueprint is there. Follow the blueprint, test it out for yourself, make the blueprint work for yourself. And then after that, start adding a few tweaks to it. Start adding your own sauce to it. But you'll never really get there if you don't understand the blueprint. You have to learn the rules of the game before trying to create your own. And it's very simple because everything kind of works the same way. And I feel like the same thing for myself too. Once I started my first few businesses, it's because I had other competitors that were already doing it and I followed how they were doing it. Once I found success doing it their way, I started slowly adding my own twist to it, based off of my own experiences and things I wanted to try now because I already know how the blueprint works. It's only after I started having traction though that I started making things a bit more unique and adding my own twist to it. It wasn't at the beginning. In the beginning stages, you always want to just follow what works the whole way. Just follow what works until you have enough reps to be confident enough to make some changes and test if it's going to work or not. Obviously with life, there's just ups and downs too, right? You're gonna go through life and some things are gonna work, some things won't. So that's when lesson 7 comes in handy, where you just give up on doing your best and do what's required. I wanna shout out Alex Hormozi for this. He might not be the first to say it. He might not even see this video. I don't really care, but he was the person I heard it from. Give up on doing your best and do what's required. And the reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes your best doesn't hit the requirements, but the thing is, the requirements will always be the requirements. That will never change, but your best could always become better. Why? Because the human potential is limitless. You can do anything you put your mind to. So if I can become better every single day, while the requirement will always stay the same every single day, eventually I'll meet the requirement, and then eventually I'll be able to surpass it very easily. That's why you gotta switch the focus from not doing your best, but doing what's required. If you're not at that level yet, it's okay. You gotta understand that your best will only become better as you become better. And it's just the type of world that we live in. Efforts don't really matter in this world. It's all about results. You aren't rewarded or paid for making an effort. You are rewarded or paid for the results you were able to bring to the table. And the people who win always go outside their comfort zone and do more than what they think they can do. And that's where growth really happens, because you'll never be able to know if you can do more if you don't test yourself by pushing on more, right? Same thing with the gym. You go to the gym, you do reps of 10, and then eventually, oh, 10's too easy, you go to 15. Oh, 15's too easy, you go to 20, 25, 30. Next thing you know, oh yeah, you're hitting 45s now like it's nothing. You know, oh yeah, we're at 50 plates now. That habit is not just built in the gym, it's built everywhere else in your life. But you gave your best at each of those points in time, but as time went on and as you kept putting in the reps, your best became better and better and better. And eventually you won. The only reason why is because you didn't quit. You can't lose if you don't quit. It's that simple. I don't even know if I can say too much about this, but I had a brand deal with TikTok Shop Affiliate. And if you don't know about TikTok Shop Affiliate, or you don't know that I did it, I have a few videos about it as well. Essentially, I had a brand deal with them and I started slacking on my side of fulfillment. Although there were reasons for it, I don't personally like making excuses, but once I was able to fix it, things became difficult because I thought, hey, I did my best, it should be enough, it's whatever. But when things started to really fall apart, I was noticing that I'm actually able to lose this brand deal. And without going into too much detail with it, that was something that I couldn't have happen to me. I needed this brand deal. So I stretched myself further. I pulled late nights, early mornings, and I would just start ripping it. I pushed myself past my limits to be able to get that done. And yeah, I was able to secure the brand deal. But that's just the grind. Sometimes it leads to late nights and early mornings. But those key moments are where you can catch a glimpse of your potential right there. And that's when you can set the bar a bit higher, because now you understand, oh, I was able to do this in X amount of time. I used to spend 20 days doing it, but I was crunched with like 5 days where I had to get it done. I was able to get it done in 5 days. What if I do that regularly? Can I do this for 5 days every single time? Boom, that's now your new best. And then after that, you get past 5 days. And it's like, oh yeah, I was able to get it done in 1 day? Beautiful. You just start to realize that you're capable of so much more than you actually think. Which brings us to another lesson that I would like to share. This one's a bit more personal for me as well. All the questions that you want answered, you can find those answers within you. Intuition is your greatest guide and you have to listen to it. Now, where does intuition come from? your gut. And if your gut is in bad health, then it'll probably lead to you having bad decisions. But if you have a good gut, then that will lead to you making better decisions when you trust yourself. Because sometimes you don't need external validation to be able to do things. You just gotta trust yourself that it'll happen. You gotta trust yourself that you have what it takes to make it happen. Trusting your gut leads to you being fully authentic. And being fully authentic is an actual superpower. A lot of people don't have that, because a lot of people are afraid to trust themselves. And that's scary, man. Like, how do you have trust issues with yourself, bro? You have a lot of facing to do. That's where you gotta start with that first. I kid you not, the amount of times that I found myself facing a specific problem that I didn't necessarily know how I was gonna solve right then and there, but I knew I needed to solve it, and it had a massive deadline. Whenever those things happen to me, I learned that all I really need is a pen, paper, and some quiet. And I just sit there with a pen and paper. I write my question out, I write my problem out, and I just start writing different solutions as to how I can do it. As long as you sit in silence, and you give yourself the time to hear yourself, you'll find the answers to, quite frankly, anything going on in your life. And then at that point, it's just act on it, right? That's a different thing that we gotta get into. And I'm not gonna cover it in this video because it's probably gonna make this video a bit too long. The next lesson I wanna share is really important to me as well. And it's probably one of the most important ones here because it comes with a perspective shift. But you need to work like your life depends on it, because it really does. The effort that you put in today builds future opportunities for you. And every single time you decide to skip on those efforts today, you skip on the future opportunities that could be given to you as well. And the reason why I say it's a perspective shift is because over my time of me being an entrepreneur, I understood that work isn't even seen as work. Like, I'm just living, I see work as me just living. I see the 24 hours of my life that I have every day is work. I'm working when I'm sleeping, I'm working when I'm eating, I'm working when I'm watching TV, I'm working when I'm reading a book, I'm working when I'm going to the gym, I'm working when I'm actually at work, right? And it's just different tasks that are happening. When I'm eating, what's the word that's being done? Eating. When I'm sleeping, what's the word that's being done? Sleeping, resting, letting my body recharge. So when you understand that, you are, quite frankly, living, and that the perspective shift isn't that I'm just working during this point in time because I'm getting paid for this point in time, but everything that I do is work, you understand and you give yourself so much more power because you're holding yourself a whole lot more accountable for everything that happens to you. You're putting a lot more responsibility on yourself that you will eventually fulfill. Because again, with what we just talked about in lesson 8, you have to trust yourself. So now that you have a lot of this responsibility that you've put upon yourself, you have to trust yourself that you'll be able to get it done. Because if you don't trust yourself on that, nobody else will. At the end of the day, life is just a whole bunch of different formulas, bro. Like, speed and execution will always win. And money loves speed and execution. The faster you can move, the faster you can get things done, the more money you can make. And then eventually you get to a point where you're just working very hard, but you gotta systemize that out even better. So now it becomes hard work times smart work times consistent effort will always win regardless. That is the true price of freedom. Hard work with smart work with consistent effort. You have those three, you are literally on the path to becoming one of the freest men on this planet. And even then, again, when you understand that shift, you start treating a lot of your side hustles more like an actual business instead of just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna hop in when I need to make a quick buck. And I'm not like, no, you hop in because this is actually what you do. Like, this is who you are. It always starts out with treating it like a hobby though. You just do it when you feel like it. You edit videos when you feel like it. You post content when you feel like it. You do product research when you feel like it. But eventually you'll realize that you're not really making that much progress, and you're not making that progress quickly either. It's only when you commit fully and start treating it like a real business. You put the 12-hour days, you start tracking a lot of different stats that help push your business forward, including yourself as a human. You start hiring people, firing people. You're budgeting a lot better and understanding budgeting and logistics and fulfillment and all sorts of different things. That's when everything starts changing, because now you're no longer looking at side hustle money, but you're looking at business money. And now that we're at the final lesson, I want to say something about this lesson specifically. Once you understand and apply this, you will have the most transformative experience of your whole life. You need to understand the power of your yes and no. To put it simply, every yes takes something away from something else, and every no to distractions is a yes to your goals. We can get a whole lot deeper when it comes to the yes and the no's, but at this point in time for this video, you need to understand that's the one thing that is truly important. Just understanding your yeses and your no's. And I only know this because I used to say yes to every invite and every opportunity out there. And this is all just because I felt bad saying no to someone. In some cases, I would say yes to things that I frankly didn't want to do. And at first you'll think, oh yeah, it's fine, I think nothing of it, it's whatever. Until it gets closer to you actually fulfilling on the yes that you gave, and you're just like, why the hell did I say yes to this in the first place? I don't even want to be here right now. I'd rather do anything else right now. And you start feeling annoyed at the fact that you're at a specific location because of this yes, or you're fulfilling on a specific task because of this yes. And this could be the same for great opportunities too. Not every opportunity is for you. You don't have to say yes to all of them. I used to feel this way about TikTok Shop Affiliate when I was first starting out, to be honest, because in my head, I was like, dude, like I'm a dropshipper. What the fuck am I doing sitting down for 4 hours running lives and making money? Like, yeah, it's great, I'm making money, but I've just wasted 4 hours of my day too. I learned that I only felt that way because I treated TikTok Shop Affiliate as a side hustle, as a just make some quick money on the side while I actually focus on the business type of thing. While I treated dropshipping as an actual business. But both of them are actual businesses that you can scale to 10, 50, 100K months if you wanted to. These 10 lessons aren't just tips, they're life-changing if you choose to actually apply them. And they can change your life very quickly if you just stay consistent. Let me know in the comments which lesson hit you the hardest, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who you think needs it. Aside from that, I'll catch you on the next video. Stay blessed, take care. Peace.
I want money, can't lose focus. Can't lose sight of what's important.